The Battle of 460 boasts arguably the most important matchup to date in this 24-25 season in ODAC women's basketball right here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Two teams with a lot of familiarity in recent seasons, and today we'll see which color, or which shade rather, the blood boils between the Roanoke Maroons and the Lynchburg Hornets in a virtual must-win at this stage of the season. Hi everybody, welcome inside the box here in Turner Gymnasium. Evan Gates alongside my good friend Ethan Morotsky. And Ethan, it's fantastic at this stage of the season just to have those games that feel like you gotta win them. The coaches are preaching in the locker rooms, go after it for 40 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. We talked about it before the game. This does not get any more must-win for both of these teams, and with the playoffs creeping around the corner, it just makes this, it puts so much more pressure on this game, and that's where both these teams are really going to have to shine and overcome that.
Well, we will dive into some of the inventories and the assignments because these two teams, as we said, have a lot of familiarity in the sense that Lynchburg's entire coaching staff has ties back to Roanoke. We'll dive deeper, but let's take a look at some of the stats here in the pregame. Understand this, these two teams play very similarly. They love the three-point shot. They love to get up and down the floor, and they don't exactly boast a lot of size, Ethan.
Well, yeah, as we look at the stats, everything really looks pretty similar. Roanoke points per game, only about 3 points above that. And they're getting a little bit more rebounds than Lynchburg. Like you said, they play very similar ways to the game, so I'm actually really excited to see which team. It's pretty much all about who can play the game better at this point.
Absolutely, and speaking to grad assistant Sayer Brandstatter before the game, she said you have to beat them at their own game. That is really what these two teams are trying to figure out at this stage, is who can come out and really have a little bit more energy early on, and that will be decided largely from the players to watch. Let's take a look at Roanoke's to start this one. Mariah Kane. Now, it does feel like there's so many different players you could choose from on this Maroons roster because we have to face it, Paige Brewer has been fantastic as a freshman, a chance to receive that ODAC Rookie of the Year nominee, but Mariah Kane at this stage just continues to perform.
Yeah, absolutely, leading the team in rebounds with 7.2. And really, she's almost top 10 in the ODAC, so that just puts so much more at stake. But like we were saying, we didn't really know who we were going to do with player to watch. It was between Kane and Brewer, but they're both having an outstanding season. Most people on this Roanoke team are doing pretty well, but we really didn't know who we were going to do, but it's really everybody on this team that you got to watch.
Well, the Maroons do have a very big committee to get things done, and their contributions have been very wide throughout the lineup. Lynchburg, as we've said in recent games, trying to shorten it up, and the starters are getting increased production, but you can't overlook the fact that Kate Littlejohn is going to have an emotional affair. The Roanoke transfer coming to the Hill City as the starting point guard this season, 10 points per game and 3.5 rebounds. She is really starting to find her stride, and the Hornets need it today.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of like the opposite of a homecoming for Littlejohn. Her old team coming to the Hornet Hive. It's really going to be, like you said, an emotional day possibly for Littlejohn, but I kind of want to go on the fact that we were talking about Bridgewater, how they have a couple of players that we want to watch. It's kind of the same way for Lynchburg. Obviously, our player to watch being Littlejohn and how well she's done with 10.1 per game. She's one of 3 players on this team that averages double digits. So when it comes down to Lynchburg, it's really going to be as to everybody else around her also stepping up while she has a good game.
There's so much to be decided, and last year, Littlejohn, more of a shooting guard. She started 15 contests for the Maroons, averaging 27 minutes. Very similar production here in Lynchburg. We will go through the starting lineups after the national anthem and get it set for 40 minutes fresh here in Turner Gymnasium. A big contest between the Hornets and the Maroons.
Every great college has a great city. For Lynchburg, we are near urban areas with lots of restaurants, shopping, and events. Plus, we are one of the top schools in the area. Come see for yourself.
To them, the whole world looks like an opportunity, one to be seized, built upon, and made better for their sport and the people around it. To student athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do.
Welcome back in Turner Gymnasium. Let's take a look at today's starters as we have a very fun and very important matchup between the Maroons and the Hornets. We'll see which shade gets the victory today. Starting lineups very familiar on both sides as they've been very consistent in recent games. For Roanoke, the freshman Paige Brewer, who has been sensational. The North Dakota native coming out, a fantastic free throw shooter. She shoots the three ball well and really commands this offense. She is accompanied by Nadia Snezarev, Ashley Fowler, Mariah Kane, who's our player to watch, and Peyton Kirchner, the lone senior on this Roanoke roster this season. For Lynchburg, the 11th straight game with this lineup, and they're continuing to average almost 30-plus minutes. Kate Littlejohn and Olivia Harris in that backcourt with Brooke Kaysen, Audra Petty, the freshman for the Hornets, who has been so sensational, and Bree Spainauer, who takes the tip for Lynchburg. Hornets in the home whites, Roanoke, the visiting blacks. Up and away we go. Lynchburg and Kate Littlejohn get this one started. Spainauer down low immediately around Kirchner and in. Dominant drive to get this game started.
Well, Spainauer, the only forward listed for Lynchburg. Like you said, both lineups really similar. 4 guards on each side, 1 forward underneath. So if they're going to give her that much space in the paint, she's going to take it.
We might see a track meet with the lack of size down low as the Hornets get the block, but it goes out to Brewer, who can't connect on the three-pointer from the corner, and a collision of 2 Maroons. Lynchburg has essentially a 5-on-3, kicks it out to Harris for the corner, knocks it down.
Really unlucky play there for the Roanoke Maroons. A little bit of a collision down on their own side of the court. I really liked that style of play. Lynchburg got down to the court, slowed it down a little bit, kicked it out to a wide open Harris, and an easy three-pointer.
Watch transition again. Here comes Olivia Harris, who took a step too many, and it heads the other way. But immediately you can tell Lynchburg looking to run, and they've already had a few chances with numbers, Ethan.
Well, it's like we said earlier in the game. This is as must-win as it gets, and it's like Lynchburg. Well, obviously they know that, but they're playing like it, and they're playing with a fire in their bellies.
Coach Nichols has referenced throughout this season that energy is so important, especially off the opening tip as Mariah Kane lays it high off the glass. Her first points of the game, first for the Maroons.
A really nice bounce pass to find the open woman in the paint.
There's another easy one. High percentage looks for number 4, who has 4 points. And Mariah Kane last time out 15 points and 14 rebounds versus EMU. She is really starting to become a key player in this starting lineup. Now the Hornets around the horn. You see essentially 5 out. Pass to Littlejohn. Now to Kaysen. Back ironing out. Olivia Harris got a hand on it as Mariah Kane maybe a little too pedestrian. And now Roanoke can finally set up shop. Paige Brewer looking for penetration, mid-range off the mark. Rebounded by Spainauer.
We were talking about Olivia Harris, and we say this every single game about her. Her style of basketball is all about hustle, and you love to see that from your player. It's more like she's a pest for the other team. She's always everywhere. She's always going to try and get an extra steal.
The Hornets do so well when they can rough games up, and they do want to get off to a very strong and hustling and bustling style of play as Kaysen off balance, up and in. The right hand showing a little bit of perfection. And Lynchburg up 3 here early in the first quarter.
Saw a little bit of a shorter version of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on that one.
Keyword shorter, but the execution was perfect from Brooke Kaysen, who time and time again continues to perform at the right time as Paige Brewer has such a sweet stroke. This season has been so impressive for number 15 in black, the North Dakota native, starting every game as a Maroon. We mentioned it in the opener. Free throw shooting is second to none as well in the conference, shooting 91.2%. Shows some of that penetration, and she's not scared to get to the rim, as is Mariah Carey, but this time it's off the mark, and the first substitution of the game is Alicia Farmer.
Well, talking about Paige Brewer, we see the athleticism in every single shot that she takes, and we plan on seeing that all night here for this Roanoke Maroon team.
So exciting as we get this one started in the opening corner of play. Talked to Coach Carla Flaherty before this contest, and she said it is so crucial to limit those turnovers in this game because two teams that like to play quickly, it's about maximizing possessions, and maybe whoever has more quality looks in this game will get the victory.
You know, it's interesting. You talk about how both these teams play basketball so quickly. I think one of the most important things that we're going to have to recognize tonight is that when these teams can slow it down and know when to slow it down to play that perfect style of basketball against a team like this.
Definitely a contrast of style from the other night against Bridgewater, as Lynchburg just gifted a bucket right at the hoop. Bree Spainauer, great awareness, and puts it up and in.
There's that hustle again from Olivia Harris right off that board, not letting the play get up. Play until the whistle, or essentially the buzzer, and rebound just went right to Spainauer.
Just have to keep running through it as Roanoke. Quick cuts, quick passes, and foul underneath. It looks like it's on Spainauer or Kaysen. First sub of the game for Lynchburg is Macy Mullins. So many different numbers in the 20s for Lynchburg as one of them enters the contest. Casey Kelly. Foul was on Brooke Kaysen for the Hornets. And now Roanoke looks to inbound. Casey Kelly almost got a hand on it. She wasn't even looking at the basketball. And now Alicia Farmer. Great move to get in the paint and almost stuck the landing for an and one, but she'll get 2 shots at the line. And that's Kelly's first foul just seconds after she enters.
Yeah, really good job there keeping Macy Mullins on the back foot, making her turn around a bunch there and drawing the foul.
Alicia Farmer, the sophomore from Danville, Virginia, a transfer from UVA Wise last season. She made 6 appearances, and she is really starting to perform well for Roanoke, averaging 18 minutes per game. That heightened participation from so many of these Maroons has come at the right time. They started the season just 1-5, and they're really starting to find their footing as Casey Kelly drives through contact. Brewer will be charged with the foul. 2 shots at the line for number 20.
That is pure athleticism and speed, both from Olivia Harris and from Casey Kelly. Casey Kelly, we talked about Olivia Harris being a pest, but she's the same way on the ball and off the ball. So the athleticism is there for this team.
Well, what's so important about Casey Kelly when she comes into the game is that you haven't seen her in the starting lineup, and that injection of energy and pace is so crucial for Lynchburg when they need a little extra boost as they get the offensive rebound. Harris ready to take the 3, fires, and hits the bottom. Olivia Harris starting to find the stroke at the perfect time of the season. 2 for 2 from beyond the perimeter to start this contest. Now Roanoke looking for a response. Brewer a little too long, and here come the Hornets. Macy Mullins. She knows a few things about playing point guard. Did it her entire freshman season. She can shoot it too. Knocks it from the corner, but couldn't connect. And another offensive rebound. Now isolation for Bree Spainhour. Trying to play bully ball down low off the mark as Ashley Fowler guarded tightly. And Alicia Farmer charged with the carry. So, wow, quick and efficient on both sides, but a few traveling violations starting to haunt Roanoke early as Lynchburg's up 6. We will catch our breath and be right back on the other side here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
Think a private education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves.
An ODAC contest between Lynchburg and Roanoke featuring two teams coming from two very different directions in recent games. Lynchburg on a 4-game losing streak. Granted, they have faced some very difficult opponents. Last time out, it was against Bridgewater, a 30-point defeat against one of the best defensive squads in the nation. For Roanoke, a 2-game winning streak, and as we said, it comes after a very troubling start to the season. So not only are they gaining momentum at the right time, but now they're in that hunt to trying to be in the top 8 of the ODAC.
Well, that's why some teams would much rather have a bigger strength of schedule towards the beginning of your season. You look at the baseball team and the softball team and really every team here, all of their non-conference games that come early in the season, they're usually really tough matchups. I know baseball teams going down to North Carolina 2 weekends in a row to play against some of the top teams in the nation, and that's why some teams favor that, because it allows an easier schedule towards the end of the regular season, so that going into the postseason you have all the confidence in the world.
It definitely pays, and Coach Nichols at Lynchburg has done much of the same, opening the season against SVU right here in Turner Gymnasium. And it's difficult because you're playing such a good team, and you understand you want everybody in attendance to keep coming to games. You don't want to see these very difficult teams, but it pays at this stage. And both squads starting to fire on all cylinders as Lynchburg once again causing a turnover. Pass inside. Now the handoff to Macy Mullins. Looking to get to the hoop. Denied underneath. Mariah Kane with the swat. Gabby Lopresti entered the contest for Roanoke, as does Paige Brewer, who replaces Ashley Fowler with 3:55 to go in the opening period. 8-point lead Hornets underneath their basket. Pass goes outside to Kaysen. Took a step, and it's headed the other way.
Well, it looks like Lynchburg's doing really well in their offensive half so far. They're finding the right passes, a couple of them a little off the mark. If they can just clean that up a little bit, it'll allow them to find more easier shots.
Definitely getting high percentage looks, and we've seen a lot of chances underneath for Lynchburg. A very different situation compared to that Bridgewater game. Littlejohn, no one in the zip code. Oh, wow. Kate Littlejohn showing a little bit of love to everybody in Turner Gymnasium. The Roanoke transfer knocks it home, an 11-point lead in the Hill City. Technical free throws go to Paige Brewer for Roanoke. Saw little extracurriculars after the play, as we just mentioned. Kate Littlejohn certainly going to feel a little bit emotional in this game, and it's so difficult for both coaches, because you understand, as Coach Flaherty is sitting on the Roanoke sideline, you're saying, okay, we coached Kate for a year, so not only do you know a lot of that blueprint, but you got to keep your players under control. And then for Coach Nichols and Lynchburg's side, it's about keeping Kate engaged in this contest. Really just a fine balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Little John doing really well to start this game. If she keeps doing well, it's going to be really tough to keep her emotions in control. Like you said, playing against her former team.
Now Audra Petty, the team's leader in three-point percentage, still leading the conference north of 41%. She can't connect this time, and now the Maroons look to work it around the perimeter. Peyton Kirchner with her length can't get the bucket to fall. Kirchner, a first-team All-ODAC selection in the volleyball season. And what's funny enough is a lot of this game she'll be matched up against Bree Spainhour, who is Lynchburg's volleyball participant, as the Hornets get the mid-range to fall.
Everybody loves their multi-sport athletes at any school you're at. We talk about Bree Spainhour and how good she is at both these sports so much, whether it's a volleyball game or a basketball game.
Definitely builds not only the athletic skill, but also understanding the balance and the time as Kirchner hits the straightaway jumper. She has been so crucial this season for Roanoke. Mentioned earlier, she is the only senior graduating. This Roanoke team brought in 8 freshmen and just continues to build a lot of that talent, including Paige Brewer, who we mentioned could be an ODAC Rookie of the Year candidate. As the Hornets re-enter 3, Letty Michael, Olivia Harris, and Bree Spainhour back in. Gotta love the energy if you're Coach Nichols. And Ethan, it feels like, obviously Lynchburg has an 8-point lead on the scoreboard, but they certainly have more energy and more hustle so far.
But yeah, absolutely. A couple people here in the stands, and the home field advantage goes a long way. And as long as they keep knocking down their shots, or not even just knocking down their shots, but as long as they keep putting up good shots, I mean, it's really going to come down to that. And like I said earlier, knowing when to slow the game down, it looks like Roanoke trying to play a really fast-paced game of basketball here. And Lynchburg, while also doing the same, not letting Roanoke do that.
Well, the Hornets have limited Roanoke's rebounding as well. That's something that Lynchburg struggled with in recent memory. In 9 of the last 10 games, Lynchburg has been out-rebounded. They're out-rebounding the Maroons 12-5 as Olivia Harris sneaky to get the steal. Down low to Spainhour. Dine and dash right under the bucket. An easy one for Lynchburg, who's feeling it, up 10.
Second bucket in a row for Spainhour that comes off of a steal, off of a rebound. And you love to see it if you're Bree under the net.
Brewer, great fake to Littlejohn. Looking to get to the hoop, up, can't connect. And now the Hornets can maybe use a little more of their pace, trying to stay under control. Pass to Petty, all alone, can't connect. Front iron and out. Audra Petty missing 2, and you don't normally see that. Only a matter of time until number 23 starts connecting. Kirchner keeping Roanoke close in this first quarter. 2 big-time threes. Back to a 7-point ball game.
Well, that's really good from the Maroons. Obviously, Brewer off to somewhat of a slow start. She's putting up good shots, but it's really about all the players around her that are stepping up for her.
Littlejohn finds Spainhour down low. There is that matchup we talked about between 2 hitters on the volleyball court. Foul on Kirchner. Spainhour will get the freebies at the line. And this Lynchburg team certainly trying to get there. This will be free throw number 5 and free throw number 6 for the Hornets. And there was a spell in the last few games where they have really struggled to get those free throws just because they didn't get a lot of looks down low.
A really nice free throw from Bree Spainhour. I think Bree Spainhour is probably one of my favorite players on this team, because when you look at her and when she's playing, not only is she loves to get contact underneath the paint, but if you look at her, the way that she goes about her game, you'd never know if she was having a 30-point game or a 3-point game. The way that she goes about it is she's unemotional and she's straight down to business.
I love it too, and it's just so much focus, but also a lot of energy that Lynchburg has needed during this time of the season. A 4-game losing streak. You're relying on so many of these juniors and seniors who have seen the culture, as Roanoke loses this one, running out of room in the corner. 4-6 left. We'll see if the Hornets have the ingredients to get a late bucket. Audra Petty, few dribbles, trying to get to her spot, across her body, almost in. Couldn't get the roll, but a good look for Lynchburg. Coach Nichols feeling the energy here in this first period as the Hornets are up 9 and looking to keep climbing here in Turner Gymnasium.
My name is Brittany Coleman. I graduated in 2014 and I have a major in chemistry and a minor in secondary education, and I'm currently teaching chemistry and 7th grade science at a local combined school. Being able to have access to your professors pretty much anytime they're in their office is really helpful, especially in difficult science subjects. I love that I am able to teach a difficult subject to students who typically aren't going to perceive it as enjoyable. I'm able to present it in an interesting way because I was presented this information in an interesting way. It's nice for me to be able to mirror what it was that influenced me to be able to teach.
Welcome back in Turner Gymnasium. Evan Gates alongside my good friend Ethan Morotsky, and a dogfight between the Hornets and the Maroons. The battle of 460. These two squads just about an hour to an hour and a half apart, and they see each other a lot, Ethan, but as we already touched on, 9th and 10th place in the ODAC standings, and it feels like this is a must-win.
Yeah, absolutely. With the playoffs right around the corner, Lynchburg, as of right now, they're not in the tournament. The top 8 teams go, much like in other sports. So they're really going to have to find any sort of way to get momentum going towards the end of this regular season.
In recent memory, the Hornets have played Bridgewater, Randolph-Macon, and Shenandoah, 3 of the top 4 teams. And last time out on Saturday, the top 4 teams all won, and the top 8 remained intact in the same order. So nothing really changing in the ODAC, and you understand, obviously, that hurts teams outside of the top 8 like Roanoke and Lynchburg, but there are a number of opportunities for these two teams to get wins down the stretch.
Absolutely. We talked about it before the game started. You'd much rather be in a situation where you control your own destiny. Lynchburg playing Roanoke right now. They play Randolph later on in the regular season. They control their own destiny. If they keep winning, they will do their job and they'll get into that top 8. But it's really going to be tough. I mean, starting 6 and 10 on the season, it's not easy to come back from that. But as we've seen so far in the first quarter, in the first half of this matchup, Lynchburg does have the talent to do so.
Alicia Farmer with a nice bucket to jumpstart this second quarter. Definitely winnable games, as we touched on. It feels like for Lynchburg, the 2 games in this 4-game losing streak that hurt them the most were that 2-point loss to Shenandoah and that 3-point loss to Randolph. 2 games they felt they could have had, and you get punched in the mouth. You just got to keep marching forward. It feels like the Hornets will have other chances to win some of those games down the stretch as they have the ball under their bucket.
Ashley Fowler and Bree Spainhour both took tumbles there. Luckily, Lynchburg getting a travel on Roanoke, keeping possession.
Kaysen looked to launch, and now going downstairs, pass to Spainhour. Options, cutting for the Hornets. Littlejohn's going to take the jumper, front iron, and won't connect. So here comes Roanoke, maybe a little more transition as Farmer passing it all around the horn. Great ball movement from the Maroons. Can't get the jumper to fall, and it feels like it might be a matter of time until Roanoke connects on a few of those. Now Spainhour. Back to methodical offense for this Hornets team as they go downstairs again. Spainhour wrapping around Kirchner, up and in.
Spainhour using her height there, not really having much open looks from this Roanoke team. Whatever they did in between quarters, they've stepped up their defense against the Lynchburg Hornets. So Spainhour did a really good job just basically making her own shot there.
That offhand was so valuable in that possession as well, just to penetrate and get to the bucket. Here's Paige Brewer. Oh, wow. Big time bucket. And Alicia Farmer catches the Hornets napping. Don't blink. The Maroons looking to attack again. Kirchner for three. And a 6-point swing goes Roanoke's way.
Well, that's exactly what we talk about. That is the Maroon style of play. They put you on your back foot. It's a fast-paced game of basketball, and this is the situation where Lynchburg have to play their own game while also slowing it down.
Lynchburg looking for a response. Olivia Harris tries the reversal and denied. Farmer down the court, pass to Fowler. Maybe a chance to tie this ball game. We'll see what Roanoke elects to do. Referee intervenes as it's a traveling violation. Looks to be the third of the contest for that Roanoke squad as Casey Kelly steps back into the game for Lynchburg. Nadia Snezarev returns for Roanoke, another one of those 8 freshmen. The Cary, North Carolina native, also played tennis and lacrosse in high school.
That's more than just a multi-sport athlete right there.
The number of skill sets, it's riveting. We've seen so many different ones. We talked about Darcy Ross, another one of those examples for Lynchburg, who in her high school days at Allegheny played volleyball, basketball, track and field, and cross country.
I couldn't even imagine playing more than just one sport, to be honest. I would have loved to play more than one sport, but I mean, that is just it's an athleticism that you're gifted with.
Well, it's hard enough to announce and just announce as one.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's fun. It makes it more fun.
That's right. Keeps it entertaining. Kayla Sledge enters the contest for Lynchburg. She has been valuable down low, brings a very physical presence to this game for Lynchburg, and Coach Flaherty making a change on her bench as Abigail Rice goes to the scores table. Here is Kayla Sledge, another lacrosse player in high school, going up and fouled on the liftoff. So 2 shots at the line.
These are the sorry, Evan. These are the moments that is so important for this Lynchburg team. And like we were saying, or like you were saying earlier, they haven't really been able to capitalize. They didn't have that many free throw attempts against Bridgewater the other day. So knocking these down is just going to be so important, especially because the Maroons have made it a close game in the last couple minutes.
Well, you have to get momentum back as well, and Lynchburg now 5 for 7 from the stripe, and so trying to use that to their advantage, because it's one thing to get to the line, but you also have to take advantage. As Sledge misses 2, Kaysen was looking for the rebound, tripped up, and Roanoke once again with a chance to equalize. Mariah Kane looks to split 2 defenders, just relentless attacking. Brewer sets the play in motion. Here comes Abigail Rice trying to keep that pivot foot. Pass outside. Mariah Kane with loads of space, dribbling off her leg. She didn't like the call. Wanted some contact, but you got to keep playing through it. Lynchburg takes the ball over. 6:16 to play in the second period.
Well, it looked like Kane wanted to put one up there behind the arc, but she was really hesitant, decided to drive. Lynchburg played really good defense there.
Mariah Kane just 3 for 9 from beyond the perimeter this season, so not in her normal toolbox. We'll see if she goes with it later as Casey Kelly. Nice ball handling, better charge from Abigail Rice, who hits the hardwood. Casey Kelly, so aggressive going downhill, but this time doesn't pay off. I believe that's the second foul on Kelly. Substitution for Roanoke, Ingrid Marias steps into the contest. Another one of those fantastic free throw shooters for the Maroons. As they pass around the horn, Brewer knocks it home from the corner. Lynchburg, one of the best three-point defending teams in the nation, and the top 25, as that one goes down as a 2-pointer. But you're starting to see this Maroon squad find opportunities outside as Olivia Harris went up with it, and it's called a charge. Wow, one of those 50-50 plays. Ethan, what do you think?
Honestly, there was a lot of contact, but it really depends on who had the initiation on it. Like you said, 50-50 could have gone either way. It didn't look like Harris was complaining too much about that. But like you said, could have gone either way.
Frustrating on one end, but Roanoke a chance to take the lead. And the Hornets have to roll with the punches. Abigail Rice has space in the paint. And all of a sudden, that lead is erased. Lynchburg jumped out in a hurry. And now Roanoke on an 8-0 run. Hornets trapped at half court, and all of a sudden the energy waltzed just 60 feet down to the other sideline. Roanoke having a time in Turner Gymnasium. They're up 1 in the second quarter.
"65 years ago, Virginia."
Lynchburg once again trying to catch its breath, now down 1 after extending that lead to start this ball game. It's a 10-0 run for Roanoke, who is all of a sudden in the driver's seat with 4:57 to go in the second period. As you see a look at Coach Carla Flaherty, coached with Allison Nichols, who is on the other sideline for this Lynchburg team. Coach Nichols was the associate head coach at Roanoke, and now her 4th season at the helm here at Lynchburg. As it's a kicked ball violation, it'll stay right here with the Hornets. Interesting enough, Coach Nichols now with Sarah Brandstatter and Whitney Hobson on the staff, 2 former Maroons who did play for Coach Flaherty. And you're starting to see almost this pipeline-like effect for the coaching staff here with the Hornets as Roanoke swipes it away. Chance to move forward. Rice goes to the bucket. Bree Spainauer in position, takes the charge. Several charging violations in this contest, several traveling violations. Ethan, it feels like who can keep the ball and be disciplined long enough.
Yeah, honestly, it's a lot of finding the right pass. Sometimes it's not about finding the perfect pass, but finding the right pass, seeing in your peripherals who's open, who's got an open shot. If I drive into the paint, who's going to come in and guard me on top of whoever's guarding her at the moment. So it's really stuff like that. There's so many thoughts going in your head. And as long as this team just keeps their energy up and keeps playing as a team and as one, they're going to be perfectly fine.
Macy Mullins trying to go over the top, offensive rebound, and the mid-range falls for Audra Petty. You made a great point about some of that help defense down low, because 2 3-point shooting teams demand that respect in the paint, but that leaves somebody open outside. And we've seen Roanoke start to capitalize. Now 4 for 7 from 3-point land. The Hornets with 3 of their own.
Well, going on top of that, you have a player like Brewer on both of these sides. You've got Olivia Harrison, Littlejohn, and players like Paige Brewer, who are, if you give them an open shot, they're most likely going to hit it. But you don't want to give them that open shot. So it's really hard to cover both in the paint, because if you drive into the paint, they can just pass it out and find. I mean, players like Brewer all around on this Roanoke team.
Certainly have to count your losses in a situation like that and figure out, okay, what is the preferred method, as it looks like it might be a question with the clock. Officiating crew will take a look. Kate Littlejohn will now enter the contest as she replaces Brooke Kaysen. If the clock's correct, 3:33 to go in the second quarter. Looks like we're up and running. We will see if Roanoke can capitalize off more 3-pointers. So far, just about dead even. Roanoke shooting 47%. That might be the difference maker, but Lynchburg finding some energy. They have numbers on the other side. Olivia Harris drives baseline, looks to the other side. Another chance for Roanoke to take a charge, but this one won't work as it looks like Abigail Rice is called with the foul.
Yeah, Rice not afraid to take the contact, and those are the players that you got to cherish on this team, because sometimes you will get a free foul in a charge, and you got to capitalize on that. It's a free possession, and it would give the Maroons a chance to take the lead back.
Olivia Harris, great work down low, missed the gimme. Starting to turn into a fantastic driver, and Olivia Harris, one of those seniors who has been very valuable for Coach Nichols' squad, as there's a foul on the rebound, 4th on the Maroons in the quarter, so next one puts Lynchburg in the bonus. Very feisty defense on both sides as we anticipated, and you can tell this game means a lot to both sides. So far through 17 minutes, 28-27 Hornets. Lynchburg with a slight advantage in the rebounding department. Both teams with a relatively high number of turnovers. That's something that both coaches have harped on throughout the season. Right now, Lynchburg with 10, Roanoke with 9 as Spainhour tripped up. That'll be another one. Traveling violation called on the Hornets, and Roanoke takes over.
Well, it's really hard to see what caused Spainhour to fall. Could have been the floor, could have been some contact. Obviously to the refs, if there was contact, it wasn't enough to call anything on the Maroons.
Snezarev sets up shop and swatted away off the Hornets. So Roanoke retains possession, 20 on the shot clock. So many other ODAC games today. We'll try to update you at halftime, but some notable ones. Shenandoah playing Bridgewater, 2 of those top 4 teams. That one in Niagara Hall at Bridgewater. And then Randolph playing Hollins. That is the 7-8 matchup right now as it stands in the ODAC standings. So obviously these 2 teams will be happy with one of those 2 losing the contest, as it is intercepted from Harris. Left hand, great swat from Mariah Kane. Looks like we might have another question with the clock as the Hornets were ready to pounce down low. Coach Nichols a little frustrated. You get downhill, everybody in motion, and now all 10 with a chance to catch their breath.
Well, obviously some frustration from the Lynchburg side. The play was going, and it looked like Spainhour. Now, we know she doesn't shoot the 3 very often as much as other people would if they have open looks, but say she were to take that 3 there and drain that in, I mean, it takes that momentum right away from Lynchburg that they have on a turnover.
Certainly had a chance as Lynchburg takes a few down low, can't connect. Here comes Roanoke, just north of 2 minutes to play. Great defense. Now a chance for Fowler. Looks outside. So many quick reversals for Coach Flaherty's squad. But right now, the well is empty. 5 on the shot clock. They've got to hurry. Kirchner releases for 3, and she knocks it down. Peyton Kirchner catching fire in the first half.
That was really good defense from Lynchburg. That entire possession, they got the ball knocked away there. It just happened to go right to a Maroon. You find an open shooter, and she's going to drain it every time.
Kirchner, the Wendy's 4 for 4 special in this first half from 3-point land. And the Maroons looking to add on. Valuable 75 seconds, and the foul's on Littlejohn. Trying to go straight up. That's going to be foul number 2 on Kate. So Alicia Farmer will have 2 freebies at the line.
Some words from the Lynchburg bench. A lot of frustration on that call. They were saying that there was no contact on her, seems like. Obviously a little hard to tell from up here.
Coach Flaherty, some words to Peyton Kirchner. We'll see if anything changes the final portion of this second quarter. Maybe even just an incentive saying try to maybe get a 3rd on Kate Littlejohn, who is almost always on the court for the Hornets. It's just, yes, 2 fouls on Kate Littlejohn. So we'll see if that changes as Harris is denied by Kirchner. Here comes Roanoke. Pass to the corner. Farmer goes up, around, and in. Big time bucket. And now the Hornets trying to regroup. You don't want this lead or this deficit to get any bigger here in the final stage of the second as the Hornets look to reverse. Petty now outside to Macy Mullins. Couldn't quite grab it for a second. Now 6 on the shot clock. Spainauer through contact, bumped, and not going to get the call. Here comes Mariah Kane, and Roanoke looking to hold for 1 shot. Big time possession to end this first half. Kane, pass outside to Fowler, fires the 3, rattles around and out. Lynchburg can breathe a sigh of relief after relinquishing a big 16-3 run in the second quarter. Roanoke takes over up 5, and we will take some time to regroup here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. We've got a dogfight between 2 local rivals and the ODAC. We'll discuss it all and more on the other side.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
Look what you're missing. It really don't matter to me. I'm just happy to be here. I might go crazy.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you have here tonight. That's what you've earned here tonight. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
is Sarah Watts, and I'm a computer science major. I chose to play softball at the University of Lynchburg because I came to friendlies and camps, and the team and the coaches were so welcoming, and after that, I knew this was the place for me. The University of Lynchburg has helped me achieve goals because through my classes, I do group projects, and I think that will prepare me for my job when I need to work with people. The person that has the most influence in my life would be my parents, because throughout my softball career, they have done nothing but support me. And when I have bad games, they always pick me up. And they're always the people that I go to for anything because they just know that they're always there for me. I like playing softball at the University of Lynchburg because the girls and the team, they're all super fun to be around, and they always welcome you, and they're always there if you need anything. And if you ever have any questions, they're the people that can answer them for you.
You have a great look. Let me just tell you that. I know you don't know me yet, but I want to work with you. I'll get a picture real quick.
He has no heart, no passion. He looks lost that way. Yeah, thanks, man.
Just once more, and you came and you took control. You touched my very soul. You always show me that loving you is where it's at. You made me so.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities, learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
For the love of the game. That's what it's all about, they say. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team and the schools and communities we represent.
And for the many of us blessed with the strength to compete in sport at the college level, we understand that with what we were given comes a special obligation.
An obligation not merely to work towards a personal best in the classroom or in the sport we love, but rather an obligation to help those who have their own special needs and whose love for the game is no less intense.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. For Special Olympics athletes, victory belongs not only to those who first cross the line, but to all of those who compete and endure.
They are challenged in ways we cannot imagine. They are survivors who test themselves harder and with greater joy than we will ever know.
Since August of 2011, we and others from Division III campus communities have volunteered more than 250,000 hours, time away from the classroom and practice field, reaching across the country to coach and mentor Special Olympics athletes.
And to learn, as we all do, that in giving we receive so much more in return.
Sport ennobles us, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
Be part of it.
Get involved.
You can make a difference.
My name is Taylor Clark, and I graduated in the spring of 2019, and I was a math major, and I'm currently a processing and packaging supply chain leader at Frito-Lay here in Lynchburg. As a math major, I loved every single second being in the classroom. I would fight for those professors, my classmates. I learned and grew as a person being in that class and challenging myself more than I would have ever thought I could. A big part of my job is root cause analysis and being able to look at a problem and figure out why did this happen and how can we make sure that this doesn't happen again. So as a math major, you learn that you need to have fundamental truths before you make any other statement, make any other assumption. The reason why I chose Lynchburg, and it's the general consensus on campus, is the relationship you get to build with your professors. And that sense of community that you get where you and your peers all understand and know that the people who are trying to push me to be better also will support me through it all.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. "100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it."
Welcome back in Turner Gymnasium. Roanoke up 5 over the Hornets in a furious second quarter run. A quarter that saw the Hornets score just 4 points after tallying 24 in the opening period. They'll try to find their footing again, and they need to quickly because this Maroons team really started to gain energy and momentum in that second quarter.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And we talk about the energy, and we can talk about stats all we want, but in reality, when it comes down to the Hornets, that first quarter, they were so good, and they were so money on every single shot. And I think a lot of that has to do with the energy. All the players on the bench were on their feet every time somebody would score, a good pass, drawing a foul. The energy was so good in the first quarter, and that was just something they were lacking in the second quarter, and Roanoke did really well in the second quarter. Roanoke got a ton of energy in the second quarter of the first half, and they stepped it up, and they've taken a 5-point lead. So energy is something that is going to be so crucial for both of these teams in the second half.
Well, if you're this Roanoke squad, you don't want to leave the door stopper on because you understand that this Lynchburg team can come back quickly. They haven't really done that this season. In fact, they haven't won a game when trailing at the half yet in this 24-25 campaign. They're trying to spoil that. So we take a look at our halftime stats. not much of note from that first half other than the energy stats and the runs. Lynchburg is out-rebounding Roanoke. It was a bigger disparity before that second quarter, but Ethan, again, it just comes down to the hustle.
Yeah, absolutely. First quarter, I saw it at one point. It was like 10-2 rebounds going Lynchburg's way, and it's just the second quarter everything flipped. Whatever Roanoke did coming out of that quarter break, they did a fantastic job. They've taken a 5-point lead. You look at the field goal percentage, they're up 15%, and they're only up by 5. So if you're a Hornets, you're taking good shots, but you got to hit them at some point. You got to hit the deep ball. We see Audra Petty. She's 0 for 4 from behind the arc. She's 2 for 7 from the field. Same with Brooke Cason, 0-1. Little John, 1 for 4. You got to get your shooters going. Feed Olivia Harris the ball behind the arc. She's 2 for 2. It's really all about taking smart shots and choosing who to take those smart shots.
A lot of options, and then on Roanoke's side, Peyton Kirshner 4 for 4 from three-point land, now 12 points. And a note for Lynchburg. They had 10 consecutive games with double-digit assists. In the last 5, they've had just 1, so trying to get back there and pass the ball well. As we'll also transition into ODAC scores around the league quickly before we start this second half. And as we mentioned, a few key matchups. Shenandoah and Bridgewater both in that top 4. The Hornets up by 7, and then Randolph, a big-time 20-point lead over Hollins right now. We'll keep our eyes peeled on that one as everybody in the ODAC in action today as Mariah Kane. Some feisty hands to start this second half. Lynchburg retains possession.
We talked earlier about Spainhour, her expression on her face every time she plays. You never really know what's going on. You can honestly say the same thing about Little John. Little John gave the ball away to Roanoke. Luckily, the ball still on Lynchburg's hands, but no emotion from her. And sometimes that's something that you want to see from your player and as a coach. But a little emotion can go a long way.
Need a little bit of pep in your step. Mariah Kane certainly has found it to begin this third quarter. Couldn't quite capture the steal the first time. Second go is successful for number 4 in black. Lynchburg now has to respond down a touchdown. And the Hornets certainly don't want this lead to extend. Now Cason ready to fire in the corner, and Kirchner the rebound.
Another decently open look for Lynchburg, not being able to knock that one down from behind the arc. Like we said, somebody's going to eventually have to step up and hit those shots if they're going to want to come back.
Still a lot of game to be played. Great fake from Brewer to capture the mid-range. So even-keeled, and for a freshman, she's been in some big-time moments this year. Coach Flaherty was really praising her, saying she controls that tempo, momentum. She is a facilitator, but also a scorer, and that's the package you want for a point guard.
Well, absolutely, and you know, she is a perfect example of the 3 C's. Cool, calm, and collected. We saw in that one shot a perfect fake, getting the defender to jump right in her face, moves up a little bit, and it's just a completely wide-open shot that she's rarely ever going to miss.
She has so much room to grow, and we say that in the nicest way because she's likely going to be that ODAC Rookie of the Year. She's competing against number 23 in white, Audra Petty, and several others in that supporting cast at Virginia Wesleyan. But you just watch the way that she commands this offense. She's definitely that go-to player as Petty making a case on the other end, up and in, through traffic. And 2 more on the board for the Hornets.
A beautiful shot, full contention from the Roanoke defense. Absolute beauty, rolling that one on the rim and in the net.
Kane, the Euro step to avoid the defender. Takes a late deflection, so the Maroons have the basketball under the hoop. Starting to see Lynchburg gain a little more energy, but it does start in the defensive end. You gotta be ready to play both sides of the ball. As now Macy Mullins ready to man the helm and set this play up with Kate Littlejohn on the bench. Littlejohn 2 fouls. Nothing too dangerous, but you do want to keep your eyes peeled. It's Harris reading the screens, looking to go left. Options denied. Now the pass to Cason, can't connect. Rebound deflected to the corner. Brewer collects. And now maybe the Maroons with a chance and numbers. Kane resetting the offense. Had the lane, didn't really realize how open she was. Now Fowler has her pass denied by Brooke Cason. Off to the races. Hornets trying to tail out. And Mariah Kane once again with the deflection. She is so nifty. And Ethan, we talked about this in the open when we were trying to figure out who is that player to watch for Roanoke because they have so many. Well, Mariah Kane leads this team in rebounds per game, assists per game, and steals per game. You're starting to see that speed on display.
Yeah, absolutely. Having just a 5-tool player like Kane is absolutely perfect. And when you pair her up with somebody like Brewer, along with everybody around you who you know is going to contribute, when you get everybody to mesh at one time, it's going to be an absolutely unstoppable, not only offense, but even defense.
It definitely spills over to your teammates as well. When somebody is playing with that package, you have to feed it. Spainhour cuts into the lead. Maroons now leading by 5. Corner 3, up and away for Snezerev. 29 minutes per game for the freshman, and you're starting to see consistency from both of the newcomers in Roanoke's starting lineup. But Olivia Harris, the veteran on the other side, staying collected.
Really good job by Harris, noticing that not all of the defense was back. Saw a lane to the inside of the paint. Really good job there. Basically said that she's going to take this one by herself and did a really nice job finishing.
Penetration on both sides as Ingrid Marias, a 91% shooter from the stripe, has 2 opportunities to improve it. 6-point ball game. That second quarter, if you weren't with us, an 18-4 advantage for the Maroons, and really dominated after struggling in that first period. They were down 9. Feels much like that game against Randolph just a few games ago for Lynchburg. They went up 9 in that first quarter, found themselves down 9 at halftime, and had a chance to tie the game up with just seconds remaining. Obviously, you don't want to wait until the final minute of play, as it's a silly foul far away from home on Marias.
Well, really what it all comes down to is you have that fantastic first quarter and you let Roanoke have that fantastic second quarter. We talk about the energy. It's really all about staying consistent, finding a way to keep your team having that much energy, whether you're down 10 or you're up 10. Keeping that energy and letting your team step on the gas pedal and not letting the other one breathe. And that's what Roanoke's going to have to focus on right here.
Hornets around the horn. Petty took a step. Tough play for Lynchburg, had openings. Bree Spainhour denied at the hoop, gets a second chance, but now Roanoke puts it to rest. Feels like there's so much we could talk about, so many different storylines and chapters, but Ethan, it feels like this Maroons team, if they make a run in this third quarter, can make it very difficult for Lynchburg to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that Roanoke has to make sure they take care of is staying on this run, and what they've done really well so far is it almost looks like how they've been playing has been about not worrying about the possessions that could happen maybe in a minute or two. They're focusing on their sole possessions that they have right now. They're controlling what they can control, and that is why they're going on such big runs here, and that's why they had such a successful second quarter.
Well, certainly doing it by committee as Alicia Farmer turned on the burners to get to the hoop. Pair of substitutions for Lynchburg as Kate Littlejohn and Casey Kelly return. The Hornets have definitely gotten their offense in isolated fashion as well. A lot of penetration, but it has been those one-on-ones. We'll see if they try to change it as Marias passes to the corner. Farmer with time, looking to go around Casey Kelly, denied. Stand-up defense from number 20. Marias ready to test the waters. Great separation, free throw jumper off the mark, and Farmer took the last deflection.
We saw Kaysen begging for a push-off between the Roanoke offense and Bree Spainhour. But a really good job by Spainhour keeping every single inch of that paint contested no matter where they go.
Oh, wow. Littlejohn heckled by Mariah Kane, and she knew it after that one. Second foul of the contest. Definitely feels like a chance to reset. If you're Coach Nichols in this Lynchburg squad, you got to say, okay, we're down 8. That is certainly a fair distance to come back as Spainauer will cut it to 6. Alicia Farmer couldn't do anything about it on the baseline. But it will take defensive stands, Ethan.
Well, Spainauer, she's doing a fantastic job in that paint. That's 14 points from her. She's 6 for 10 from the field. Not shot a three-point attempt yet, but when you're shooting that well and you're getting open looks like that under the perimeter, you don't need to take a three-point shot. It's like Giannis Antetokounmpo out there.
Lots of high percentage looks. Macy Mullen slowed things down to maybe get a set look from Coach Nichols on the side. Now Spainauer has the mismatch down low on Brewer, heckled in the corner. Pass outside, 6-6 on the shot clock. Casey Kelly was ready to go up, loses the ball, and Roanoke takes over. If you watch Mariah Kane play defense as well, number 4 in black, it is incredible the energy she has produced up top at that guard position, making life really difficult for the Hornets. We'll talk about it more on the other side. 4:24 to play in this third quarter. Maroons up 6.
At Lynchburg, we don't fear change. We embrace it. In our students, on our campus, in our community, and around the world. We're building on our legacy of always moving forward. It's the same place with a new name. Welcome to the University of Lynchburg.
Back in Turner Gymnasium, Lynchburg trailing by 6 against Roanoke, a local rival. This rivalry in the ODAC just continues to fester, and it's been so much fun in every sport. Two schools that certainly continue to bolster their athletic programs. And last time we talked, Ethan, Mariah Kane, one of those players that you definitely have to show respect to on this Roanoke squad. What about her play today has really helped the Maroons be in the position they're in?
Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I made a point that she's that perfect 5-tool player that you want, that everybody wants on their team. I mean, you look at her, she's 3 for 4 from the field for 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, along with 2 steals for herself. So she's really doing it all on both ends of the court.
Brings a lot of hustle. She's listed as a 5'9" guard as well, and you don't necessarily see that as frequently, at least at the D3 level. Definitely does a little bit of everything, and Roanoke has several. Gabby Lepresti and Nadia Snezarev, all 5'8" or taller. Ingrid Marias also joins that conversation, and it isn't necessarily a tall Roanoke lineup, but they do have several players who can go and use their size when needed, as there's a foul that goes against the Maroons. Spainauer will head to the stripe for 2, and that's Marias' 3rd. So maybe potential danger for the Maroons and a decision for Coach Flaherty.
Well, I mean, going back to Mariah Kane, the 5-tool player that she is, it's you almost want to say that her and Brewer are kind of like a dynamic duo because of the type of player that she is. You can't leave her open also, so it's going to draw a defender her way, and if she doesn't, Brewer's going to do the exact same thing and take a defender away from anybody else. So you almost want to say dynamic duo, but it's really this entire Roanoke team that's doing a fantastic job.
And for a backcourt duo, it's so unconventional because Brewer plays so well with the ball in her hands, but she is that facilitator. Mariah Kane doesn't necessarily shoot. She does everything else, such a stat stuffer. It goes into the steals and blocks on the defensive end. But this Roanoke offense just continues to formulate new plans as Brewer looking to go to the rack. Foul called before it happens. Brooke Kaysen picks up foul number 2. Olivia Harris and Audra Petty return to the contest for Lynchburg.
One thing you really have to look forward to if you're the Hornets is that they play the same exact type of basketball that you do. They play a fast-paced, they want to shoot the ball because they know they can hit those shots. And if you're Lynchburg, you want to cater to that because you know they're going to do stuff like we just saw there. They're going to put it up. They're not going to slow the game down for you. It's going to be more time for you to come back in this game.
Definitely in a quick game, more opportunities. Great point as Kirchner the fake. And now Brewer trying to extend that lead. These are the big swings that can happen that coaches will have nightmares about. 3-point shot off the mark. Casey Kelly, the rebound, led Lynchburg in offensive rebounds last year. She passes to the player who leads them this year, Olivia Harris. I spy down low. It's just a 2-point ball game. And the Hornets starting to find their way back.
Really good communication there from number 23, Audra Petty. She was wide open on that other side of the bucket. And a beautiful pass, find her wide open, and just an easy shot. You're going to make that 9 times out of 10.
Laser focus, the Maroons, and what could have been a killer corner 3. Spainhour looking to bring it up the court. Here comes Kate Littlejohn. Can the Hornets equalize? A big possession near the end of this third quarter. Lynchburg regaining their composure. Now Audra Petty. Looking for separation, Casey Kelly, the misdirection. Spainhour through contact. Tie it up at 44. The Lynchburg bench on their feet. Roanoke trying to refine the answer. And Paige Brewer will be called with the carry. Oh, wow. Lynchburg energy back in Turner Gymnasium.
Well, going back to Spainhour, she's been doing it all night. All she's been doing is driving into the paint because they're giving her that space. 18.7 for 11 from the field. You almost could probably say that she's 7 for 11 from right under the bucket.
She is getting so many great looks, and courtesy of many of these Hornets guards. We'll see what they have in the blueprint with 10 on the shot clock. Olivia Harris goes left. Passes to Littlejohn, who has the alley. Goes up and almost an and one opportunity, but Littlejohn will have 2 free throws and a chance to give the Hornets a lead. We haven't said that in a long time. They're on a 10-0 run in this last 4 minutes.
Well, that was a really fantastic job from really the entire offense of the Hornets. Giving enough space, Littlejohn, really nice drive. Spainhour covering multiple people on that offensive run, giving Littlejohn the opportunity to drive towards the net. Almost got that shot to go and had a chance for almost 3 points, but she secured herself 2 free throws right here.
Happened so quickly. So many players in double figures at this stage of the game. 4 in total. And the totals on the scoreboard aren't exactly extravagant as the Hornets now lead 46-44. Both teams have boasted double-digit leads, and now it's just 2. Lynchburg trying to defend the home floor against the rival Roanoke Maroons, who once again look to find their footing. Passing around the horn, now Ingrid Marias. Using that footwork to get downstairs, past just into empty space. Ashley Fowler found it. Now the freshman Paige Brewer wants a screen. Time winding down on the shot clock. Got to get something up. Off the glass, no good. And the Hornets trying to hum forward. Harris outside. Kaysen thought about it. Audra Petty, jumper from the short corner. Second quarter was very in tune to the Roanoke Maroons. Lynchburg has stolen the third. A 7-point disparity and trying to run through the finish line.
Well, we talked about it at the beginning of this second half. Some players were going to have to step up, and there's Audra Petty right there.
Paige Brewer reverses it. Roanoke badly needs a bucket. Ashley Fowler ready to wind and fire, picks up her dribble. Option in the corner, Ingrid Marias, a step inside the 3-point line, gets it to fall. A nice roll for the Maroons, who cut it to 2. We'll see if Lynchburg holds for the final shot of the third. Coach Nichols gives direction from the sideline. Options left and right. Harris ready to go. Searches, three-pointer off the front iron. Looked pretty, but the Hornets will have to hold it on pause for now. A big-time third quarter here in the Hill City. It sets up shop for a climax in the next 10 minutes. Lynchburg leading by 2, and you're watching the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
My name is Jen Hyde. I graduated in 2018, and I got my major in philosophy, political science, and I minored in human services. And career-wise, right now I work at a residential treatment center for juveniles with sexually reactive behaviors. I would say the biggest advantage is definitely that it is a small campus. You know, you get to have that one-on-one with your professors. They're willing to help you out. They're going to get to know you more than just a student that they're teaching. You know, they really invest into your lives. Definitely use every resource that you can kind of get at Lynchburg. There's tons of mentors within the professors, the faculty, the staff here, your peers that are here. You have so many options that you can take. There's so many classes, you know, even if it's not within your major, if there's a class you're interested in, take it. Kind of explore your options because Lynchburg does have such a wide variety of different things that you can do. You know, be involved, become a well-rounded individual because Lynchburg sets up the support to where you can do that here.
Despite shooting just 20% from beyond the perimeter, the Lynchburg Hornets have found their way back, and now starting the fourth, up 2 points against the Roanoke Maroons, a big-time third where Lynchburg was able to go up with a 7-point disparity, and now Coach Flaherty's squad trying to regroup. Bree Spainhour leads Lynchburg with 18 points and 6 rebounds. Big-time performers come up big in the big-time moments as Abigail Rice, shifty to get in the lane, ties it back up at 48. Hornets a little disheveled, trying to get into place. Spainhour downstairs, up and in. A 20-piece for number 25.
A really, really nice pass there from Macy Mullins. Went through 2 Roanoke defenders, finding Bree Spainhour in her favorite spot on the whole court.
Truly a dogfight as we enter these final 10 minutes. Brewer up from the free throw line off the mark. 125 rebounds over another. Spainhour sets motion up. Macy Mullins tried to force the pass down low to Petty. And Mariah Kane re-enters the contest. And a large portion of that third quarter, Ethan, where Lynchburg went on that run was when Mariah Kane hit the bench. So this is an interesting few minutes for Roanoke's momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see how Lynchburg can adapt. Kane had a really good second quarter, and like you said, they got most of their points when she was on the bench in the third quarter. So we're going to see how she can help this Roanoke team.
Well, say less. Nadia Snezarev hits the 3 to go up 1, and already a contribution as the Maroons look to go baseline. Spainhour heckled, and fortunate deflection as it looked to go off Brewer's foot. Brewer and Snezarev both right under the Lynchburg hoop.
Well, I really like the aggressiveness in this passing from Lynchburg. They're trying to get the ball under the paint. They see that that Spainhour's there, and she's been doing really well. 8 for 12 from pretty much all under the rim. So finding her the ball, feeding her the rock, I love what they're trying to do here.
Perhaps it will open up the three-point shooting because Lynchburg has needed it as Littlejohn a little too heavy off the glass. So much to be decided as the equation is still largely unanswered, but Mariah Kane once again, penetration. And now there's full court pressure to the fullest extent. Roanoke bringing numbers forward. Maybe just a bluff as the Hornets having a little more space. Macy Mullins tries to work down the court. Spainhour looking for a posting Petty. Cross-court pass. Kaysen ready for it. Almost banks in the 3. It's off the mark. Can Roanoke start sneaking away again? Paige Brewer, footwork in the lane, and 2 more shots incoming.
Roanoke doing a really good job, pretty much doing exactly what they did coming out of the intermission between the first and the second quarter. Coming into this fourth quarter, it's completely flipped. The energy has gone all Roanoke right now, and Lynchburg needs to find a way where they can come back and get into this game.
What's so interesting is that Lynchburg starters definitely field a large number of minutes in comparison to that bench. Notable exception today has been Macy Mullins, who has 17 minutes off that bench, but right now everybody in the starting lineup for Lynchburg has 25 or more. Roanoke, 7 players with double-digit minutes. That will definitely continue to climb. Lynchburg has to get the ball across, deflection, and the Maroons can go the other way. Brewer, one of the best free throw shooters in the conference, in fact, sitting at number 1. Gives 2 to the Maroons. Ingram Marias looks to give 2 on the other side. Maybe the unluckiest bounce you'll see all night. Pass to Macy Mullins. Directing traffic. And the Hornets now in the spot of needing the bucket. Scoreless and almost 2.5 minutes. Harris, isolation, just threw it up. Casey Kelly, crafty to try and get the offensive rebound, but Coach Flaherty's squad can pound the rock. They want transition. Options around, Snezarev to the corner, Marias. Once again thinking about it. A little more patience from this Roanoke offense. Here's Kane, great bounce pass to Abigail Rice. Sinks the corner 3. A big time start to this fourth quarter for the Roanoke Maroons. And loving the energy is Coach Flaherty and the coaching staff. Lynchburg has to regroup, still searching for an answer, and a 7-point fourth quarter disparity. Lynchburg's down 8.
Lynchburg really stood out for me just because of the way it treated its students. They really do make an effort here, and I've learned that over my 4 years is that they actually do try to listen to what the student body wants, and they try to act on that. They don't really just give you a piece of paper here to then go off and do your own thing. They actually prepare you to like work with different populations, which is what the world is all about. It's just working with people that are different than you. They genuinely care that everyone has the ability to go off into the world and make a difference with whatever they like. For me, that's just being basically in a room with someone helping them achieve their first goal of, I don't know, doing a pull-up. I actually do believe they want you to do the best you can to change someone's life for the better. You can be anyone here, which I think is really cool. But regardless of who you are here, they will make sure you don't fall through the cracks, which is awesome. I have realized that I've never felt lost here. I will not regret ever coming here, that's for sure. So I'm very
Letty Michael enters the contest for Lynchburg with 6:24 to play. They're down 8 and certainly have a number of three-point shooters out on the hardwood. Big question mark, and maybe the biggest game to date of this season as Letty Michael open in the corner. Great draw up and it sinks. Chess move from Coach Nichols as Letty Michael continues to show that three-point shooting on full display. Now Abigail Rice muscling her way to the hoop. She'll have 2 at the stripe.
Well, going back to that Lynchburg triple, just like Coach drew it up, I'm sure Olivia Harris, she's been so aggressive driving to the paint, pulling people in. And Letty Michael, we haven't seen her much today. Wide open in that corner, just drains a 3. And hopefully bringing some momentum to this Lynchburg side. If you're Roanoke, these free throws could be a perfect way to stop that momentum.
Well, Abigail Rice just a 58% shooter from the stripe, but clutch time as she makes both. And once again, Roanoke up 7. Full court pressure almost every time, maybe trying to force Lynchburg into some quick possessions. Got to keep the Hornets in front of you, though, if you're the Maroons. And right now, can Lynchburg once again find an answer with Spainhour? Trap down low, pass outside to Casey Kelly. Risky pass to Olivia Harris. Now outside, Kelly, mid-range jumper. Misses the rim. And Roanoke can run again. Brewer just going to tail out. A smart move for a freshman. Pass outside, Snezerev ready to go off the iron. Lynchburg needs transition. They have a chance now. Olivia Harris to the hoop. Almost connects. But once again, the Hornets empty-handed and quick possessions on their offensive end.
Well, those points are so important in just a 7-point ball game with 5 minutes to go. Getting points off of turnovers and defensive boards where they don't score, that turnaround is just it's so crucial for a team to help them come back. And Lynchburg not doing too fantastic of a job in that category.
4 on the shot clock. Roanoke's got to make a decision. Ingrid Marias just going to have to force this one up, and it goes in. Those are the buckets that can win you a ball game, and Roanoke, when they've needed it the most, starting to come up big. Casey Kelly equalizes on the other side, and Coach Nichols wants to talk things over.
A really good job there, keeping the momentum going for Lynchburg. Obviously, they've hit a couple of shots. Roanoke going right back at them. Every time Lynchburg scores, it's like Roanoke is right there on them, keeping that lead. So Hornets going to have to find a way where they can, like I said earlier, find ways to score on those turnovers. There have been a couple of traveling violations, stuff like that. Those are so crucial to come back in this ball game.
Well, definitely a lot of calls in this fourth quarter have been the Hornets essentially shooting themselves in the foot, and you're seeing some of these turnovers start to stack up. Right now, Roanoke has 16, Lynchburg has 15, so there's no difference in that category, but it does feel like a lot of those Hornet errors have happened in that second and fourth quarter. We're starting to see almost a broken record-like quarter play out for Coach Nichols' squad. They are still within striking distance. Bree Spainhour has been a large reason why Lynchburg has played so well to stay tight. 20 points and 7 rebounds. Right now, Paige Brewer now leads the Maroons with 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. And then, of course, Mariah Kane. We have mentioned her impact. It just feels like a night and day difference when she's on the court.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We were talking about it in between the third and the fourth quarter. It's the Kane effect. When she's on the court, this team plays better. And even when we go to Paige Brewer, we talked about it at the end of the first quarter. She didn't have that good of a first quarter, but came out in the second quarter, flipped the script. We said we can't let her get hot, and that's exactly what she's done. And now she's got 13 points, and the game's not over yet. She can get even more.
It's not make or break for either of these teams at this stage. There's a lot of season to be played, but you understand this game facilitates so much in the ODAC standings. As Brewer has her shot off the mark, somebody's got to grab it. Petty finally collects. Olivia Harris downstairs to Spainhour, just couldn't field it. Petty looking for her first three-pointer of the game. 0 for 5 now from beyond the perimeter. Here comes Brewer. Lots of cuts from this Roanoke offense, starting to create real estate down low. The easy looks, Brewer. Oh, wow, brilliant pump fake.
Wow, that was impressive. I mean, Spainhour, one of the better defensive players possibly even in this conference. And Paige Brewer making it look like a cakewalk up there.
Takes 2 to tango, and Olivia Harris the response on the other side against one of the most promising guards in the conference. Alicia Farmer trying to create separation, couldn't collect, and Kaysen running out of space on the other baseline. Lynchburg now can finally try to cut into that lead. Have to play close to perfectly in the final 3 minutes. Letty Michael from the corner, no good, but a foul on the rebound, and that will be costly. Abigail Rice charged with the contact. That's her 4th.
A little bit of confusion from Rice. Looks like she doesn't know what's going on. Spainhour, she was trying to get everything going and get that rebound from the corner 3 from Letty Michael.
Rice stays in with 4. Spainhour wraps around Brewer. A 5-point ball game on the scoreboard. If you're Coach Carla Flaherty, definitely got to make a decision because Abigail Rice has played so well defensively in this fourth quarter to eliminate those looks from Spainhour. Mariah Kane, the other side, fouled, and 2 shots on the way. Third on Brooke Kaysen, and Kane heads to the stripe. 59% shooter from the free throw line this season. Once again, clutch time. Roanoke has hit their free throws at the perfect times. Now 11 of 13 on the day.
Well, we talked about it, how the free throws have been so crucial for both these teams throughout not just this game, but the entire season. Lynchburg hitting 9 for 12, which is very, very good for this team. But Roanoke hitting 10 for 12, now 12 for 14. So both teams have done a really good job at the charity stripe.
Feels like even when the Hornets have been able to bite into this lead, Roanoke somehow finds a way to extinguish. Now Audra Petty down low, no good. A late foul. Question is, who is it on?
I think it was on Rice again.
And that's number 5. So Peyton Kirchner will return to the contest. Oh, wow. So a late whistle, and Abigail Rice's day is done.
What it seemed like Spainhour was at the edge of the paint coming in to try and get the rebound, and it may be a little bit of a nudge from Rice caused that whistle.
Once again, looks like they are updating the scoreboard, but now the question is, does Lynchburg have enough time? They get that size advantage back, but you got to play almost perfectly. Petty going up, no good. Spainhour tried to bounce, and maybe a little extra aggression. 4th team foul on the Hornets up this quarter, so the next one puts the Maroons in the bonus. 7-point disparity. Lynchburg down but not out. They're going to need a run to equalize, and you got to play near perfect defense. Mariah Kane outside to Snezerev, around to Brewer. Options for 3. Oh, and Letty Michael fouled her. 3 free throws on the way, and that is one of the calls you can't have in this fourth quarter.
Well, there it is right there. Paige Brewer, the last person you want at that free throw line with 1 minute and 53 seconds left, down by 7. It's almost like it's almost like you're guaranteed to be down by 10 at this
That's
point.
right, and the way that she has shot this season, just continuing to show what she's all about. I mean, even if she misses 1, that's a gift as an opponent. And now Roanoke all of a sudden certainly in the driver's seat, but a dominant fourth quarter, outscoring Lynchburg 21-11. And Coach Flaherty wants to talk things over, maybe change up the defensive scheme. So we'll take another break on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Hornets down 10. They got to respond quickly.
Imagine the complete athlete. Strong, tough, resilient. Imagine the complete fiber. Strong, tough, resilient. Built by science, proven by testing.
Well, the Hornets have lived down low throughout this ball game. Bree Spainhour, a big reason why Lynchburg has kept it close. 10 3-pointers launched for Lynchburg in the first quarter, just 9 in the next 3. They might need some now. We'll see who wants to take them as Olivia Harris has the mid-range rattle out. Just need some of those breaks down the stretch. Lynchburg doesn't get this one, and now really staring their 5th consecutive loss in the face. The Maroons can stay patient. Paige Brewer so nifty in this fourth quarter. Adds 2 to the tally, 20 points and 35 minutes for the freshman. A dominant display. Now the Hornets still looking downstairs, and Mariah Kane is charged with her 4th personal. Roanoke shooting 48% from the field in this contest, 44% from beyond the perimeter. And now 15 of 17 from the free throw line, so just sizzling. And when Lynchburg is trying to catch some of these breaks, they have really struggled to show it on the scoreboard.
Well, one of the keys that I'm sure was in Lynchburg's defensive scheme was keeping them away from the free throw line. And in the first and third quarter, they were doing that. But in the second and fourth quarter, that's where Roanoke have been all night, and that's exactly why they're up 11 right now.
Spainhour, second free throw up and in, 10-point ball game as Casey Kelly steps back in. Now, we have seen some crazy runs in Turner Gymnasium in recent weeks. The men's team has fallen victim to a few streaky runs from other teams and a pair of buzzer beaters. We'll see if Lynchburg can play spoiler, but as we've touched on, they've got to be almost perfect, and Roanoke fields the pass as well. Now into the front court, and they can just wait this one out. Brewer. Going to be fouled by Selah Parker. Don't know if that was by design, as Brewer, as we've touched on, is shooting 91% from the stripe. She heads back for 2 more, and the North Dakota native has certainly been the difference maker, especially in this fourth quarter.
Well, Roanoke in the last couple minutes have been playing this perfectly. Every time that they get the ball, whether it's on a defensive rebound or an offensive board, they've taken as much time off the clock as they've needed. And they find an open look. Even with 10 seconds left on the shot clock, they're going to take it, and they've scored every single time. And that's exactly why they have shut the Hornets down in this fourth quarter. They've done a fantastic job.
Well, they have certainly come through at the right times in this game, and I think if you're going to trade quarters, you'd rather be dominant in the second and fourth than in the first and third, and that's definitely oversimplifying the narrative, but Lynchburg has really struggled with the energy to close out the halves as Olivia Harris once again off the mark. That's the type of fourth quarter it's been. And now Roanoke up 12. This is going to be it. Lynchburg going to fall to 6 and 11. And definitely in a risky position when you look down the stretch. The ODAC tournament still a decent time away, but you got to start playing almost perfect. And we know that the ODAC is loaded once again. Shot clock violation. And Roanoke going to improve to 9 and 10. 500 in conference play at 5 and 5. And while there was a lot to prove for both sides in this contest, Roanoke has the final exclamation mark, and they'll move forward with a little more confidence on a 3-game winning streak. Lynchburg has a 5-game losing streak. Ethan, fourth quarter, that was the difference maker.
Yeah, absolutely. Going into it, we were hoping that it was going to be a really, really close one, and it was for a little bit, but Roanoke, they were just hitting every single shot. They were hitting every single free throw, and Lynchburg, they were getting turnovers. They just couldn't capitalize on them.
You're running out of answers at this stage of the season. It gets so difficult when you're a coach. You don't necessarily want to course correct too much, and then you're on a completely different path. You got to be able to figure out, okay, what is that fine balance? And Lynchburg certainly has winnable games coming up, but still tough competition. In their next 3 games, you got Guilford, you got Averett, and Washington and Lee. And 2 of those teams are in the top 6 of the conference. So, Ethan, if you're Coach Nichols talking to the squad, it's a 5-game losing streak. How do you start approaching these next few games and still instilling confidence?
Well, throughout the game, you've seen sparks of beauty from this Hornets team. We talked about it all game. The first and the third quarters, Lynchburg looked fantastic. They were hitting shots, they were getting turnovers, and they just looked so well. They took leads, whether it was double digit or not. they had sparks of greatness, and they need to figure out what the difference is between the first and third quarter and the second and the fourth quarter, because you can't win basketball games playing just half of the game pretty well. You can maybe win them playing 3 quarters well, but ultimately you have to play to 100% the entire ball game.
Well, we look at the shooting percentages as well. They are somewhat of an indication of how it went for the Hornets. They shot 42 and 61% in those first and third periods, and then 15 and 29 in the second and fourth. So yes, still a lot of room for improvement. You can't exactly fault shooting in a game like this. We mentioned energy and hustle. Mariah Kane for Roanoke, her stat line finishes at 10 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Just a stat stuffer. You feel like Lynchburg definitely has to find someone who can go into all those categories and bring that hustle when it matters most.
Yeah, absolutely. And in recent times, it has been shooters like Audra Petty. She's one of the top 3-point shooters in the ODAC. Tonight, rough night, 0 for 5 and 0 for 4 from Brooke Kaysen, too. And we talked about it a little bit during one of the breaks. It almost looked like they were trying to force their shots into the net, when really the best way that you're going to play basketball is if you're playing loosey-goosey, if you're more relaxed and the shots are just coming naturally. You're never going to get consistent shots if you're forcing them in, especially if they're contested. There were plenty of shots that were taken by everybody on this squad that were contested. And again, you can't force shots. That's ultimately the biggest struggle that they had tonight, in my opinion.
Well, the big narratives from this contest: Roanoke continues their streak against Lynchburg as the Hornets now on a 5-game losing streak this season. They're out-rebounded once again, and really the tough one, still haven't won a game when trailing at the half, trying to solve that equation. But our next broadcast for this women's basketball team will be next Wednesday versus Averett, a 5 o'clock start time as we move into February, really into that postseason push. So a big thanks to all of you for tuning in as Roanoke gets this one 73-61. And a big thanks to our entire LHSN crew, our cameramen Kevin Nestor and JP Cepeda, and our director, Micah Adams. He is Ethan Mrotsky, and I'm Evan Gates, saying so long from the Hill City.